Principal of Ross's Sterling High School, and I'd like to welcome you to the Ronnie Kluch Stadium, home of the Ross's Sterling Rangers baseball team. Would you please rise for the pledges to the flags, led by Trevor Brown, Sterling High School Student Body President, and the singing of the National Anthem by Reggie Tolino, All-State Choir member.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one indivisible.
Oh, sing, you sing, by the dawn's early light, what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, o'er the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Okay, you may be seated. Thank you, Trevor and Reggie. I'd like now to turn the program over to our Superintendent of Schools, Mr. Randall O'Brien.
Well, good evening. It's great to be here tonight to share this celebration. As you can see, the facility is already known as Ronnie Kluch Stadium, and in 2005, from an idea developed by former head coach Paul Tadlock and former Ranger baseball player Matt Hicks, and after approval from the Board of Trustees, the stadium was named in honor of former head baseball coach Ronnie Kluch. Tonight, we are taking the opportunity to dedicate the archway and the plaque, which have been added more recently in his honor. Coach Kluch set high standards for his players, guiding them to success in the sport that he so loved, as well as in life. Before we begin, I'd like to recognize just a few guests this evening. We have members of our Goose Creek Consolidated Independent School District Board of Trustees, President Jimmy Smith. And I'm looking the audience to see, did any other board members make it in? Yes, Mr. Augustine Laredo, here in the back. Thank you, Mr. Laredo, for being here this evening. We have our mayor, Stephen Don Carlos, here with us this evening. Do we have any Baytown City Council members here with us this evening? Okay. We have our new Deputy Superintendent of Schools for Goose Creek with us this evening, Anthony Price. Goose Creek CISD Athletic Director, Bernie Mulvaney. Sterling Athletic Coordinator, Pete Guerreri. Head baseball coach, Adam Shibley. Sterling baseball coaches, Ben Veen and Mike Anzudala. chewed that up, didn't I? Any of Coach Kluch's former co-workers, would you please stand up or raise your hand so you can be recognized with us today? Any co-workers of Coach Kluch? Any of Coach Kluch's former players, please raise your hand or stand up and be recognized. At this time, Coach Ronnie Kluch, please be recognized. Stand up. If you're a family member of Coach Kluch, would you please stand if you're able to and be recognized? Face the audience. I'll leave the introduction of the family in particular to Coach Kluch here in a few moments, but first we'd like to invite former coach Tadlock to come to the podium.
Well, it's been a long time coming, I guess, Coach Kluch. I can remember the day that I became head coach at Sterling High School, and I started going through file cabinets and things that were left aside, photos of former players. And it only comes along so often that a person comes along that makes a lasting impression on the individuals that he coaches and the programs that they're involved in. Coach Kluch is obviously one of those people. One of the reasons why I wanted to push and have the field named after him when I got the job a few years afterwards. But I heard so many stories from players, former players that I coached with, Coach Rupp, Coach Jimmy Twardowski, who coached here also. And I always talked about how Coach Kluch pushed and drove them and kept them driven. I remember a story from Jimmy Twardowski one time. He said, I guess it was 1979, the year that they went to the state finals. Early on, they had a few struggles and playing average. And he said, Coach Kluch got them in the dugout, and he said, guys, today mediocrity ends. We're either going to be good or we're going to die. And he said, we began dying that day. He said, we went out and we worked and we worked and we worked. He said, and there was an old wooden 4x4 in the dugout. He said, Coach Kluch punched the 4x4 with his bare hand. He said, I thought he was going to break it. He hit it so hard. But no, really, it's a great honor. I'm so happy for you. And again, a lasting impression that you made on Sterling High School. I've always said that we just tried to maintain status quo from the time that I took over. But congratulations.
Thank you, Coach Tadlock. I did fail to recognize one of my colleagues in Region 4, Superintendent Twardowski. Wanted to recognize him. I overlooked him. Thank you for being here. Now we'll hear from a former player. Deacon Winters played center field on the Sterling varsity team in 1975 and 76. Would you come on up?
I really appreciate the Kluch family inviting me here to be a part of this. It really means a lot to me to be able to come and say a few words about Coach Kluch. I reflected about, I think it was about 40 years ago, Coach, that you and I took this field for the very first game at this stadium. And although I don't remember a whole lot about that game or that season as far as balls and strikes, wins or losses, but the one thing I do remember about those days is that I really loved playing baseball. When I was asked to speak, I asked Kim to give me some guidance on what she wanted me to say, and I think she just trusted me to speak from my heart, so I will. I spoke with a couple of my buddies, Chris Rupp, his name's been mentioned before, he's a close friend of mine, and Kyle Hollister, and those guys feel about Coach Kluch the same way I do. So we kind of compared notes, and so many things came to mind when I started thinking about those days and really what it meant to me. And so many words came, but I kept going back to the same thing, and that was commitment. Now, a lot of you remember a story. If you're like me, my grandfather told me this story about what commitment means. And he said, when you consider all the barnyard animals that put together a good breakfast meal, the chicken is involved, but the pig is committed. So, let me tell you what commitment means to me when I think about Coach Kluch. First of all, and this reflects on what I think about what I took away from Coach Kluch, because he taught me much more than how to throw a baseball, how to catch a ball in the gap, or hit the cutoff man, or lay down a bunt, steal a base. But when I think of commitment and what it meant to me to play for Coach Kluch, it's a reflection on who he is as a man and who he was as a coach to me. And first of all, he taught me to believe. And I think to be committed, you have to believe in yourself, you got to believe in your teammates, and you got to believe in the mission that you're undertaking. And if you believe in that mission, and you believe in yourself, and you believe in your team, and you're willing to work hard to be the best you can be. And Coach Kluch taught me every day, when you get up out of bed, be the best you can be. Better than you were the day before. And that's something that has carried with me throughout my whole life, my whole career in the military and in the civilian life. And not only that, but if you're willing to work hard and you achieve some of your goals, then you're going to take pride in yourself. You're going to take pride in who you are, you're going to take pride in your team, and you're going to take pride in the mission and how you're accomplishing that task that you're undertaking. And if you have pride in yourself, then you're going to earn respect from your adversaries, you're going to have self-respect within yourself, and you're going to have respect for the game that you play, for the job that you have. And so to me, that's what embodies the word commitment to me when I think of Coach Ronnie Kluch and what he meant to me so many years ago. I played for him for 2 years, but he's been a lifelong friend, and I still love playing golf with him on occasion, even though he won't give me strokes, which I think is not fair. But and I'll wrap it up real quickly because I know I've gone over my time. But Coach, thanks for everything you did for me and countless other players here. I can only tell you that the lessons that I learned from you on this very field right here have carried me through my whole career in civilian life, in the Air Force, and throughout my baseball career. And you know, when I hung up my spikes and the bat and the glove for a fighter pilot's helmet and the stick and the throttle and F-15, the lessons that I talked about today and the commitment that you taught me every single day I came to this ballpark carried me through the tough times, and I just can't thank you enough for everything you've done for me. So thanks, Coach Kluch. Here's to you.
The wind. I'm going to lose track and skip someone here. Thank you, Deacon. Wes Walker, varsity pitcher from 1978 to 1980, is also here to help us honor Coach Kluch. Wes, come on up.
Coach Kim told me this was a roast. I didn't know it was a dedication.
You're in trouble.
You know, I've lived in Baytown area pretty much all my life, so I see people that I've played against in the past. And you know, Coach Harrington is one guy that I see all the time. Coach Harrington was the coach of the League Anders when we were playing and had many games against Coach. And every time I see him, he says, you know, Walker, he says, players like you and Corbell and Twardowski, he says, that's the reason Ronnie Kluch was a good coach.
You're right.
He's such a great coach. No, but it seems to be a competition between you two. You know, he got the field named after him. You got this field named after him. He got an archway. You get an archway. And the one thing you don't have yet is a tournament named after you. So hopefully you can.
We'll do that next.
But all that aside, very honored to speak today on the dedication of the archway and flag for Coach Kluch. Even though it was a long time ago that I played, I can remember it like it was yesterday. What I remember is the passion, the competitiveness that he had for coaching in the game of baseball. I believe I'm correct in saying, and noted sports historian, Baytown sports historian Jim Finley is here in the audience to confirm this, that there's only been 2 teams from Baytown that have played for the state championship of Texas in high school baseball. The 1961 League Anders, who won the state title, and the 1979 Sterling Rangers, who fell 1-0 in the final. And the one common denominator for those 2 teams is Ronnie Kluch, as he was the pitcher for the Ganders, as a player and a coach for the Rangers. And I don't think that is a coincidence, as he's the type of leader, player, and coach that drove both teams to success. His ability to motivate his players is legendary. I'm sure all of his former players can attest to the fireness of his personality that made you want to leave it all out on the field and defeat your opponent. In my opinion, and if there's any other coaches here, I know there are, one of the most important qualities you have to be a successful coach is having confidence in your players. And if a player knows that his coach has confidence in you to perform, then that gives the player confidence in himself, which may be the most critical factor in the player's success. Coach Kluch had that ability to give his players a confidence that when they stepped out on the field, they would succeed. I don't know if he remembers this or not, but I was a sophomore sitting on the end of the bench of a playoff game, our last game, because we were getting beat by Port Arthur Jefferson. Toward the end of the game, which ended our season, he looked at me and he glared at me, and if everybody knows his glare, you'll understand. And he said, he told me to be back ready next year, and that we would be back, and I would be a big factor in getting us back. And that look he had and the confidence he showed went a long way for me as a player. And he was right. We went all the way to the finals. Thank you, Coach Kluch, as playing for you and the success we had. It's meant a lot to me throughout my life and many other players' lives. Congratulations on this honor. I have a lot of pride when I come to the park or drive by and tell people that this field was named after you, my high school coach. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Wes. We'll now have the big presentation from our mayor. Mayor Don Carlos, please come on up.
Absolutely. Coach, congratulations. This is a neat day. You know, it's really got a special meaning to me. Right this afternoon, right about now, 250 miles north of here, my oldest son is coaching a high school baseball game, Frisco Independence High School. He was a league gambler, but we had great memories of playing fabulous Lee Sterling baseball games in this stadium. I had two of my sons play baseball for Lee and had games here. You know, I like to think of Baytown, I've used this example before, as a tapestry of so many people that have come through and influenced thousands of other people's, other parts of the tapestry that makes up our community. And coaches and teachers are so much an important part of that. Basically because not only do you affect your family, your wonderful family here, but because you affect so many young people who've grown up to be obviously wonderful, wonderful adults. And I think it's a great tribute to you, Coach, that after these many years, you're still so highly thought of here at Sterling High School that they want to singularly honor you for this, for your achievements here. I'm going to hit the high points of a proclamation that I'm going to present to you. It starts whereas Ronnie Kluch graduated from Robert E. Lee High School, where he was a standout baseball player. He played baseball for Sam Houston State for 2 years as a member of the 1963 Bearcats team that beat Grambling for the NAIA National Championship. He pitched in the second game of the series. He was signed by the Kansas City Athletics, playing in the team's minor league system for 5 years before an injury ended his career. He became Ross Sterling's head baseball coach as the third baseball coach in Sterling's history. He served from 1971 to 1980, compiling a 200-win, 74-loss record. His teams won 4 district championships, tied for the title 3 times, finished second twice, and was a state finalist in 1979. His decision to coach came from a lifetime love of the game and a love of teaching kids, and he set a precedent for excellence at Ross S. Sterling High School for its baseball program. And Coach, here comes the good and bad news. With this proclamation, you're going to have a free speeding ticket for today only. And the bad news is it can only be used on Garth Road. Good luck with getting up to the speed limit on Garth Road. Therefore, I, Stephen Don Carlos, as mayor for the city of Baytown, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 2015 as Ronnie Kluch Day. Congratulations.
The At this time, I'd like to invite our athletic director for Goose Creek CISD, Mr. Bernie Mulvaney, to the podium.
Good evening. Tonight we dedicate this archway, proclaiming this baseball field as Ronnie Kluch Field and the plaque honoring Coach Kluch. Coach Kluch compiled a record of 200 wins and 74 losses in his 10 years here as head baseball coach at Sterling. He set a standard of excellence for the Sterling baseball program, and his favorite saying is, play it like a man, enjoy it like a boy. Before we ask Coach Kluch to come on up here, we'd like to recognize the part that his family played in his success and applaud their patience and understanding during his long hours that baseball coaches put into their program. So let's give this family another round of applause. We also have something from Miss Kluch.
Oh my God. Thank you.
Can y'all turn this way? That's so much better. That's so awesome. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Coach Kluch, you come on up. We'd like to present you with this plaque. That is a replica of the bronze plaque that is by the entrance of the stadium. Mayor Don Carlos read most of the highlights, but one thing I want to add that isn't on the plaque is look at the legacy that you have left behind. That is a great job as a coach, as a man, and as a mentor. I'm proud to be in the same profession with you, Coach Kluch. Thank you. Coach Kluch, if you'd like to introduce your family now.
Come back.
My turn to come.
Yes, sir.
I would like to introduce my family to start with. My wife, Redland. My mother-in-law, Andy. Sister-in-law, Donnell Keller. My lovely daughter, Kim Baker. My sister, Betty Mahosky. One of my granddaughters, Taylor. My other granddaughter couldn't be here. She had practice for a dance team in Austin that she couldn't miss, and she would have been here. And my son-in-law and deer hunting buddy, Jack Baker. I would like to thank everyone for coming out here tonight. And you can look at the archway, and when the visiting teams come in, they're going to say Ronnie Kluch Field. Who in the world is that? But anyway, I would like to thank our school board. I would like to thank all the people that made this possible. I know Susan Passmore did a tremendous amount of work on this. I know that there were many other people, the Riddells, all of them had a tremendous amount of effort going into this. And there is one special person that I would like to thank, someone that I care a whole lot about. Probably, you say I get probably more than she thinks. It's my daughter, Kim Baker. She had a lot to do. I think she emailed, called everybody in the district trying to get this thing to happen. And I appreciate her very much. The coaches at Sterling, I would like to thank Coach Padlock. He was the one who kind of got this started. I appreciate him very much. Coaches that coached baseball when I was here, Coach Bethel, who coached our sophomore team, Coach Paulus, who coached our JV team. And later on, Coach Paulus became the head coach here and did a great job. Another person who worked with me directly on the varsity, Coach Al Hawthorne. Al passed away a couple of years ago, and I used to tell everybody that there was no doubt I had the best infield coach in the state of Texas, without. He was a tremendous coach for me. And I really do appreciate this, but the ones I really want to thank that really made it happen are my players. They're the ones that did it. That 200 wins, I didn't throw a ball, hit a ball, or catch one ball.
My players did that. And you know, I learned something real early in coaching. Your players can sense whether you really respect and admire them. I tried to do this. I did love every player that ever played for me. It didn't matter if they played every inning, or every game, or they played a backup run. They knew I did, and they laid it on the line. Now, a lot of times I realized I wasn't the easiest person in the world to get along with. And the story Wes was telling you about a while ago, we had lost a game to Clear Lake 2-1, a non-district ball game. I went into the dugout. I said, gentlemen, we're going to have a talk. And I got kind of excited. I hit the wooden pole there with my fist. My hand was bleeding all over, and I didn't want to cry, but I wanted to. But anyway, they got the point. From then on, that's the year we went to the state final. I loved each and every player that I ever coached. I deeply loved them. And I think they knew that. You can tell by the two of my ex-players that spoke, Wes and Deacon. That's the kind of people I coached. It was hard to lose when you had people like that. I coached many, many players. Every player I ever coached was just like that. You know, I could stand up here and tell you 50 stories on players. I got to tell you one that's kind of funny. I had a picture when our workouts went team drill, individual drill. When we went individual, Hawthorne took the infielders, I took pitcher, catchers, and outfielders. I'd get the outfielders going, I'd get the catchers going, I'd go in the bullpen with my pitcher. I wanted to watch every pitch they threw. I wanted to make sure Wes didn't mess up. So anyway, I had a pitcher that year named Charlie Carbell. And when you throw a ball, I can tell you whether it's a fastball, cut fastball, slider, change up, whatever it was. Charlie was throwing his pitches, he threw a pitch, he came in there about waist high, and he just fell out of the sky. I said, Charlie, throw that pitch again. He threw it, he came in there about waist high, and the bottom fell out. I looked at him and said, Charlie, what is that big? He said, Coach, I'm loading it up. You don't know what that means. That means he was getting something somewhere from his uniform or his mouth, and if you take that and put that on the smooth part of a baseball, if you can control it, it's going to do some strange things. So I said, Charlie, you do realize that's an illegal pitch, don't you? He looked at me and said, Coach, I know it's illegal. I said, I'll tell you what, I thought a few seconds, I looked him in the eye and I said, I'll tell you what, Charlie, you keep throwing it, they can't hit it. He threw that illegal pitch all the way to Austin. I'd like to end with one saying that I used to tell my players. I know they've heard it. If you played like Jack did, played football for me, he's heard it. But I think it applies to life. I told my players, I said, you know, when your baseball career is going to end, whether it's in high school, college, pro, sooner or later it's going to end. Then you're going to have a life. And I used to always have one saying that I told them. I said, if you live by this, you will never lose. If you live by this one saying, you'll never lose. I based my whole coaching career on this. And it goes like this, and I'll end it like this. Life's battles don't always go to the biggest, strongest, or fastest man. But sooner or later, the man who wins is the man who thinks he can. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Kluch. Now we'll have some photo opportunities by the plaque and the archway. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out this evening. The varsity game will begin around 7 o'clock, and you all are welcome to stay. So come on in, and let's christen Ronnie Kluch Stadium.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.